Hello there. I'm sure you're used to seeing me introduce for the UPA week and whatever week it's going to be, but today it's a different video. It's still draft content because why wouldn't it be on this channel? We are part of a new league and this is going to be my draft analysis for that league. We've been doing UPA for a long time now and that's about to end, and now we're doing a new one. It's the UPBA, which is like UPA and IBA having a baby. That is basically a good description of it in a nutshell. But you know, new league, we got a new outfit in the game, new everything. I'm very excited to go into the season I got for you guys here. This league is run by Jack or Gray, my good friend online at this point. So I want to thank him for inviting me into the league. I did help run this league a little bit as I did host the draft stream 2 days ago, so that was pretty cool if you showed up for that. So yeah, there's that. Basically, in a nutshell, it's just a standard draft. There is 20 people in it though, so that's a lot of people, and it made drafting a little bit harder this time. You guys probably wondering, you guys seeing this on a Sunday, while most people uploaded their DA on a Saturday, but the upload day for this league is going to be actually Friday, and you're probably all confused, like where are all these dates coming from? Well, the draft stream was late, so I mean, kind of made things a little tough there. And B, UPA is also on Friday, and since we are still in it, I'm going to push these uploads to Sunday until UPA ends. So until that ends, you are going to be seeing these 2 days late than most other people. That's just a little rundown there. Content-wise, the last thing I want to point out before I show you guys my awesome team for this league, I might have a layout. My layout for the UPA is just the logos in the left corner, which I do like, but I might add some stuff to this league in this season. I'm not sure yet, depends how much time I have, but that's kind of in regards to how the content's going to look for this new season. I hope you guys are looking forward to this as much as I am. If you are excited for UPBA, if you could leave a like, that would be awesome, and if you enjoy the draft league content, subscribing is pretty neat as well. But the team we got is pretty interesting. We got 6th overall pick out of 20, so pretty early in the draft, but not extremely early. And there was a few things I was looking at, and I did get sniped like 2 times. I say sniped lightly. I did want Alkazam. That's what I initially wanted. That got taken, and then I was like, oh, Zygarde would be nice if it fell to me. That also got taken, so it's like, okay, this kind of sucks. But there was still something left on the board that I was very interested in. And I just thought, based on the title, you guys actually know it. It's Dragofish. We got pick 6 Dragofish overall. I'm pretty happy with it. Again, not my first pick because I wanted the Alkazam, screw you Talon, but I'm gladly happy to take a button clicker round 1 like this. I know a few other people did want this Pokemon, so sorry, but not sorry for sniping it, sort of. But if my opponent does not have a water immunity, that means Dragofish instantly has a decent matchup. That's how good this Pokemon is. Clicking that button is awesome because it's boosted by Strong Jaw. And for God forbid, whatever reason, I don't click Vicious Rend, I still have other good coverage moves. The fact that it's a Dragon type 2 makes it defensively decent as well, because its stats, while they don't look amazing on paper, they're definitely bulky enough to live any one hit with this thing. And 90 attack is plenty with when you add the millions of boosts that this thing gets, whether it be from Vicious Rend, Strong Jaw, Choice Band, Choice Scarf, which it's a good Choice Scarf user. So yeah. That is Dragofish. It's a round 1 pick. I'm very excited to build around this thing. I did want to draft it in my first Wi-Fi league, but then I got first overall in a GMAX league, so didn't really go to plan. But yeah, I'm happy to use it, and we do have a long ways to go for our next pick. And my next pick is going to be a little bit confusing, and I'll explain to you guys why in a second. But it is Alkazam. That is our next pick here, and you're probably wondering why I paired Alkazam with the Dragofish, which is kind of weird. That's because this was a transaction. I initially picked up Rotom Heat, but I decided to drop it, as I'll explain why a little bit later when it makes more sense. But Alkazam, and looking at the end of my team, really made sense because of my speed tiers were kind of lacking. And being 120 speed, it is, spoilers, the fastest thing on my team. So it really fit that niche right there. I'm not the biggest fan of pure Psychic types, just like I'm not the biggest fan of pure Dragon types, but I think Alakazam on this team works. Again, not everyone drafts a Dark type for whatever reason, so right there, Alakazam is going to have a good matchup against them. Okay coverage, again, wish it was a little bit better, but one thing I really like on Alakazam compared to other things is its ability, Magic Guard. That is just an insane ability. You get to run Life Orb for basically free. This thing is a really good focus sash user, so I could see myself utilizing that. And decent coverage, and I am allowed to run nasty plot on this thing. So late game, this thing could be absolutely deadly against some of my opponent's teams, especially bulkier teams that want to come against me. Alkazam can easily just shred apart, and that's something I'm looking forward to using. It is not in my threshold of 18 to 16 point mons, so I am allowed to pick up something a little bit higher later as well. So just keep that in mind. Again, Dragofish Alkazam does seem a little bit weird, but when the whole team's done, it will make a little bit more sense. And that is our, quote, second pick of the draft. Our third pick was our actual third pick, and it is the mon that we are still, it's not a new mon, because I've never used the first two. It's Ferrothorn. Very, very reliable Pokemon. If you guys have been watching UPA, it's been putting in the work. Hidden Power being gone has just made this thing so much better. It does give me hazards reliably, so that's pretty nice. And the way I like to build my drafts is that I like to have at least one solid wall, a few pivots, and then if I'm lucky, a second solid wall, and then everything else offense, right? So Ferrothorn gives me that wall that I need. It's a really good steel type because that's, as a steel type, duh. And I like to have them high tier steel types. And this thing is just one of the most reliable Pokemon to fall back on ever. It gets body press, which just helps out its move pool a bit, knockoff, and a few other things as well. And I think it's really going to support the team and have good synergy with Dragofish. That's another reason I kind of wanted to pick it up. So yeah, we have Dragofish, Alkazam, and Ferrothorn. A decent synergy so far. I'm a big fan of this. I still need to pivot. I still need a little bit more breaking power. Well, not breaking power. I still need, pivot, defense, offense, of course, and a bunch of types I still need. I need a lot. It's only 3 picks in. What am I talking about? But that is going to be Ferrothorn. We're going to move into our fourth pick now. Are we kind of zooming through this? A little bit, yeah. Our fourth pick is going to be another Pokemon that I have never used before. It is Grimsnarf. Again, never used this before. I am a little bit sus on this pick because it is a darkened fairy, so it does fill that hole that I desperately wanted to get early. And so I have that. Prankster is an amazing ability on this Pokemon because it gets a lot of good support moves like the screens, taunt, toxic. No, it doesn't get toxic. Thunder Wave it gets though. Trick, and a few other status moves that I can't think of off the top of my head. Bulk up. Yeah, all that good stuff. And of course, it doesn't even need to be just status-inducing moves. This hitting has 120 attacks, so it's hitting insanely hard and has really good coverage. Dark and Fairy is already pretty spammable, and when you add the billions of coverage moves it gets, it's really nice, and it can also go special with Nasty Plot and its special move pool. Again, I said it's a little sus just because I wanted a utility mon, and its utility, it is, but it's not like the utility I'm thinking, like defog, U-turn, volt switch, or recovery. It's not of that. It's more like taunt, screens type of utility, which again, I will take on this team. I think Dragofish is going to heavily appreciate screen support in this league, and even Alkazam to an extent as well. Taunt could be useful, and I think it does have a place on this team. I really do. But it is my first time using it, so we will see how this Pokemon goes. That is my round 4 pick. Round 5, and this is exactly why I dropped Rotom Heat, and I will explain it. We picked up the Toilet Bird, Pelipper. Another Pokemon it's my first time using in draft. I haven't used any of these so far except for Ferrothorn. And Pelipper, I wanted to pair it, and I will say it right now. I wanted to pair it with Ferrothorn because of the type synergy. I didn't solely pick this up because of Drizzle. It's a very nice benefit for me because it pairs with Ferrothorn. It makes Vicious Rend basically unwallable and all that good stuff. And it's just a nice benefit, but I didn't need it. This thing has good utility that I was talking about earlier. U-turn, defog, roost particularly. Water flying is decent coverage. I know this thing does have 4 moveslot syndrome a little bit, so that is something I'm going to have to worry about throughout the season. But I tried my hardest in this draft, as we will get into with the rest of my draft, to not pressure this thing into one certain role. So we're going to hope that that's how it goes. Just like Dragofish, its stats on paper kind of look mediocre, but they are sort of all in the right places. So I can't be too upset about that. And again, we have a rain setter now. Dragofish is looking very scary if it's under rain, and that's something that I'm looking very forward to using in the season. Getting Dragofish under rain and just clicking Vicious Rend. But that is our 5th pick. We are 5 picks in, and we actually do have 6 more, so let's just keep on going. Our next pick is Toxic Croak. This sort of adds to the rain theme that my team is going with at the moment, because Toxic Croak has dry skin as an ability. I want to make sure I wasn't going to lose the water types on the spot because I set the rain for them. That would be very tragic. But just like Grimsnarf and Pelipper, this thing is here sort of to fill out holes that I needed at this point. Mainly, again, the dry skin ability, but also being a T-Spikes absorber. Kind of wish I had a T-Spikes user of my own, but considering, I just mentioned the rain part and the fact that this is part fighting type, I was okay with this. I knew I was dropping Rotom Heat at this point, so picking up the speed tier here was quite fine with me. I was a-okay with it. This thing can go both physical and special, which is really nice because it gets Sword Stance and Nasty Plot as setup options. It's a good choice band user because it has really good coverage moves. It gets knockoff, which is pretty nice as well. Again, good priority, so I don't have to rely on Grimsnarf Sucker Punch solely. And that's all the things in a nutshell that Toxic Croak sort of does. I used it once in BFO and not for too long, but I did enjoy prepping with it. And I think it does really add a lot to this team. And the fact that I don't see this Pokemon drafted too often makes me a little bit more excited to use it. So I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing this Pokemon do some work in this league. And that's Toxic Croak. I did mention our team is a little weak to bulky waters at this point because if Ferrothorn gets Scald Burn, then life sucks and Toxic Croak's really kind of it. So we added Hundurus. This is actually my second transaction. I did originally pick up Galarian Articuno, but again, with transactions and stuff, this is what we have. I will not front, I really wish I had Zapdos on this team. It would fit a lot better with this particular team. And I'll even go further that I think Thundurus Therian speed tier is a little bit better than Thundurus here. But it is okay. I have not used this thing in a very long time. The last time I used this Pokemon was when I was bad in draft. So now we are here when we are better at draft, and I think I'm going to get more out of it. This is still a criminally underrated Pokemon. This is one of those like high tier Pokemon you don't see drafted often, or it's always waited to the end, and if someone needs a high tier electric, they'll pick it up. But I think this thing is very good. It's another Prankster user, so I have Prankster Defog if I need it. It gets a lot of other status moves as well, kind of like Grimsnarf. And unlike a lot of electric types, and even Zapdos to a lesser extent, this thing has really good coverage moves. I say to a lesser extent because Zapdos gets electric flying, and that's all you really need most of the time. But that's besides the point. That Thundurus gets a billion other different moves that I can use on the special side and even the physical side as well. It doesn't have the defensive utility that Zapdos has, but I personally think it is a better offensive mon than Zapdos, so I think that's kind of what I was going for anyway, so I'm completely okay with it in the end here. It gets Volturn, so it gets both of them. That's always nice, and again, lots of coverage moves. And if it's another speed tier that I needed, I will spoil my speed tiers are kind of shit on this team, but it makes it a little bit less bad. So it's Thundurus. I think it's going to fit well. I can run Thunder some weeks because of rain, just as an option. And yeah, that's our 7th pick. Again, it was our other transaction of this team. And we're going to move into our 8th pick now, which is going to be Paloswine. Paloswine, again, a very interesting Pokemon. The first time I'm using it, a lot of firsts on this team, to be honest. But I've heard it's very good, and I've seen it do a lot of work before. It's one of the better Eviolite users. And even though I haven't used it, and I have used the other Pokemon I'm about to mention, I think it's probably better than Gligar, because Gligar is kind of bad. But I am looking forward to this because Ice and Ground is really good, typing to have, good defensively. Paloswine has the Thick Fat ability. My team was very weak to Ice at this point, particularly Freeze Dry. So having Paloswine really patches that up quite a bit. It gives me another rocker, so Ferrothorn doesn't have to come every single week to be a rocker, though it is pretty good at it. Ice Shard priority, and as I mentioned, Ice and Ground is very good. I already see myself just running defensive most weeks, if not especially defensive. But that's kind of what Paloswine is here to do. Not saying I didn't have a water weakness at this point, but having a mon weak to water was fine to pick up at this point because it's fine to have it on the team. But it's here, it's my ground type on this team, which is pretty cool. And we'll see how Paloswine goes. I almost picked up Palossand, but I think Paloswine just is a little bit better here. That is Paloswine. Our next pick is going to be another water weakness, Colossal. It is a little bit weird. I will spoil, I have prepped for my week 1, and the dynamic between Colossal and Paloswine is a little weird prepping.
because they fill out like the same role, but they don't do the same thing, if that makes any sense. It's another hazard user, so again, another option. It's a spinner, so it's not my only defogger. Granted, I will say right now my removal is defog Pelipper, rapid spin colossal, and defog thunderous, which a little shaky, but it's okay. But the typing is actually, it seems similar, but they're very different, and it's just different. And the typing, the bulk on this thing is very nice. It gives me another wall to use. Really good abilities to have I can utilize to my advantage. I always want a fire type on a team. I know some people don't prioritize a fire type. Me, this being a semi-rain team, having a fire type is definitely not a big priority, but it's something that I still really valued, so I decided to pick this up here. And again, it was just meant to have some type of hazard control on this team, and I don't really see it coming every week because of the rain dynamic, but there are going to be games where I definitely can see this thing coming. I know a few people like Jack love this thing, and I've heard a lot of good things about Colossal, so let's keep our hopes up and hope it can do a lot for our team here. We are down to our final two picks here, and this pick I was very skeptical about, but me and Aqua were talking, and it came down to Poltergeist and Linoon, right? And I needed a ghost type, and I really kind of wanted a normal type too. And the speed tier that I'm missing on this team is, it goes from 111 to 85, which that's pretty bad, right? Linoon's 100, right? But then I was talking to myself, I'm like, is Linoon a base 100? I've said that a billion times by now, but the answer is no. It's really not. And when it comes to like setup potential, I felt like Poltergeist might be a little bit more reliable, just because it gives me a little bit more than Linoon, so I picked Poltergeist. I say that because if Linoon doesn't have a belly drum up, it's kind of ass, to be honest. It's not that good. While Poltergeist doesn't need a Shell Smash to be good, obviously it's like the best set on it, but I've seen Strength Sap. It has aromatherapy, so some type of cleric right there. Baton Pass for pivoting. It could be a good Assault Vest user. Ghost Spam is pretty decent, and I also have a few other coverage moves like Psychic, Giga Drain, and yeah, because its coverage is kind of bad still. But 70 speed was fine, to be honest, and again, it got really good spit out to the point where it can provide me a little bit more than Linoon. That's why I went this route in the end. I was a little skeptical because I feel like Alkazam and Poltergeist fulfill a similar role. I'm not going to say same, but the way I was kind of looking at it at first. So we'll see how this one goes. If I ever make transactions on this team, Poltergeist is probably going to be the first to be dropped, but we will see how we go the first few weeks in this team, because I want to get a good feel with what I have before I make any transactions if I really feel like I need to make them. But that is going to be our 10th pick, and we have our final pick, the best pick in the draft, not even close, hands down. If you disagree, then you are just wrong. We have Spiel. This is the best pick in the draft. My draft was very kind of whatever to this point, but now it is a 20 out of 10 team. There is nothing stopping this team because I have Spiel here. This thing will claim 6 lives every week, and it will win me every game this season. Take my word for it. This thing is very powerful. It is just so awesome, and we have a Spiel on the team, which is pretty sick, and you should like the video for that because we want likes on this channel really badly. Anyway, that is going to be our team here. So to recap and rerun down what we have on this squad, it is Dragofish, Alkazam, Ferrothorn, Grimsnarf, Pelipper, Toxicroak, Thunderous, Paloswine, Colossal, Poltergeist, and Spiel. My thoughts on this final team, I'm a little mixed about it. I like it more than like not like it, but this team does have some weaknesses that are rather glaring that I really wish I didn't have. I wish I built around it a little bit better. But besides those weaknesses, I think the team is really well. I am always known for drafting a little bit weird, so this is nothing out of the unusual here. I would just say mixed about it because my UPA team is just better than this. I will be just flat out honest. But I think I built very well around Dragofish and Thunderous particularly, so I think those two mons are going to be doing a lot of work this season, as well as Ferrothorn, just because it's a Ferrothorn, let's be real. But I hope you guys are looking forward to watching my run in this league this season. I'm going to be looking very forward to providing you guys some content for this. And speaking of fire content, we face Shay, week 1 of this league. So we already know we have a banger start to the season. Let's hope it's a clean freaking game. That's all I'm going to say here. And, you know, the rest of the schedule, I don't know it off the top of my head. I'll be saying who my opponent is at the end of each week, probably. And, yes, I hope you're looking forward to this journey as much as I am. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far into the video, again, liking and subscribing is all cool and stuff. And, you know, I'll see you next week for UPBA.